Hi everyone, welcome to Shelf Control. This is going to be a complicated video to try and do tastefully and tactfully. As you can tell from the title, we're going to be discussing the issue between Quackalope and the publisher Into the Unknown with Aeon's Trespass and all the drama that's unfolding on the internet and any lessons that can be taken away from it. And I think that there's really one big lesson to be taken away. And so if you're not familiar, during the Kickstarter for Aeon's Trespass, some people commented about a video that Quackalope made where he basically used the title Aeon's Trespass is basically unplayable. And it was part of his, I believe he calls it the confirmation bias series, where prior to that he released a video with Aeon's Trespass calling it a masterpiece. And so the one video was all positive, talking about how great the game is, and then the other video was all bad, talking about the problems that they had with the rule book and the way that the game was organized, and trying to get it played without having to go resort to Board Game Geek for rules clarifications and posting rules questions and waiting for answers just to play the game. And so on the Kickstarter, somebody commented about the unplayable video, and the publisher came out and basically accused Quackalope of wanting to accept money to get rid of those videos, and how they weren't comfortable doing that. And they said they had receipts, and so people were speculating back and forth all about that. And then they actually posted their email correspondence with Quackalope for people to read. And people have taken sides, and there are those Jesse Quackalope haters from way back that were just waiting for some blood in the water. And then I've heard people defending Jesse and Quackalope and saying what the emails state, and saying that wasn't his intention. But unfortunately, I wouldn't say that his supporters are as diehard as his haters. But he does have people out there who are trying to support him, and he released a statement as well. Unfortunately, he's out of the country until June, I believe, and so that really limits what he can do. He's doing some religious studies for his conversion to Judaism, and so I'm certain having all this on top of that is probably not the best thing, not what he was expecting. But so unfortunately there's some silence on his part while he's out. So I think that there's some leeway that needs to be taken on both sides. I don't think that the way that Jesse worded things was necessarily the best way, and I don't think that the publisher acted in the best way either. If you look at the email chain, it starts out with Jesse contacting Into the Unknown, saying, we did an unboxing of your video, it got very favorable feedback, and we would like to do a video series to support the upcoming Kickstarter, and gave the price of how much per video to do that, and also suggested that they would appreciate having somebody from the company who's familiar with the rules to help them do the best possible video. And so according to them, with their copy, that was January 19th that they received that from Jesse, and they replied back on February 3rd. So not quite a month later, but they replied back and said that his price was a little steep, but not something that they couldn't work with, and asked for some more details on that. And so the following emails, the next few emails in here, don't have a date and time. So the only assumption I can make is that maybe it's all in the same day, and they were able to get responses back and forth real quick. So Jesse notified Into the Unknown that they had brought down a patron to play the game with them, and they made some video content of playing the game and discussing it already, but expressed that they were having difficulty with the rule books and the way that the cards were organized, and just having trouble trying to figure out actually how to play the game, and said, even though we've got all this already done, if you're wanting to do a sponsored thing, if you could get somebody to be on like a video call while we're playing or something like that, to help us with the rules when we're playing, then we could redo all that content, because that old content is without the instruction and help of the person from the company. And they then posted and said that they have certain guidelines for paid sponsorship, and I assume it's the boilerplate, because they say it's the basic stuff of paid content. Coverage should be strictly positive, and there should be no direct or prolonged comparisons to other games in favor of focusing on our game, and so on. And then Jesse's like, okay, great, can we set up a call to get this done? And then if this was all done on February 3rd, then they did not get back to Jesse until March 31st, almost 2 months later, and said that there was a delay because the flu was going around and things like that, and they were getting ready for this Kickstarter, but they would like to move forward. And then Jesse then informed them that he decided to move forward with just releasing the content that he had. And so people are saying, I'd like to say that Into the Unknown, the publisher, did not use the word blackmail, although they did seem to imply that Quackalope was going to do positive content for money. But people have gone online calling this blackmail, and that Quackalope is willing to hide negative reviews for money. And judging from the email chain that the publisher themselves put out, the talk of money was in the first email before any content was created. And then in the period of silence, they had brought someone in, did some talking, did some playing with somebody, had some difficulties, made videos talking about these difficulties, and then when the publisher reached back out, then they were like, okay, we can move forward with the sponsored content, but we had these problems we would like to have some help with. And personally, I can understand why they would do that. If I was playing a game and found the rule book difficult, or the way that the game was organized difficult, or something like that, I would appreciate being able to make a video for my viewers saying, yeah, the game can be difficult to get into, but here's steps you can take that would ease the friction of getting into the game. That it would, if you store it like this, or here's some rules that you can follow that would make it a lot easier. Then, even though that the video has a negative side of, hey, this is difficult to get into, but the game's worth it, and here's how to ease yourself into it, could be beneficial, and something that the publisher would probably want, other than just the wow, this game is really hard to get into. The publisher putting this out, I don't really agree with. This is something that probably could have been handled better. Unfortunately, a lot of other content creators, publishers, and social media personalities have also come out to talk about Jesse's character, and that I don't know that I agree with that part either. Not saying that they're wrong about his character, but just the coming out vocally about it and basically just adding to the dog pile. Because you've got all these people who are not taking the timeline of the emails and instead reading malice into it where there might not be malice. And then everyone's just piling up. And that the people who are like, maybe it's not malice. There's, what's that saying about, don't attribute malice to where ignorance can explain it. I don't know exactly how the quote goes, but I think, and getting to the lesson that we can take away from all of this is, I think we need to just take a deep breath and understand that everyone involved in here is a person. We're all just people, and we're all, for the most part, hobbyists. We love board games, and so we're here and we're working to either create the best games for people or create the best content for people. And there's, like using myself as an example, I'm not a YouTuber. I don't have any experience with YouTube. I don't have experience with marketing. I don't have an experience running a business. The only thing I have experience with is being myself. And so that's what I'm going to put out here. And I'm probably going to make some mistakes. The only, if you look at my subscription count, you can tell, my biggest fans are probably my mother, and to some degree, probably my wife. But, I don't have the experience of how to be a YouTuber. If things come out, we're reviewing our whole board game collection and reviewing it and deciding what stays and what goes. And by the very nature of that, there's going to be reviews of, we didn't like this game bounced off us and we're going to get rid of it. And there's probably going to be negative feedback coming back from that. And I don't have any experience dealing with that. So, our goal here, hopefully, is to get a small community of like-minded people who find our discussion of these different older games helpful, and the newer ones that come in as well. But to just get a nice community going. Again, we're also in that comfortable space where this isn't a job. This is just an extension of the board game hobby. This is an extension of our love of playing board games, and just thought it would be cool to share our journey playing through all of our games and deciding what to keep and what to go, and actually sharing that with people, because other people might find that information helpful. And I guess I'm throwing in little tiny videos like this occasionally, and just to make my own comments about what's going on. So we're in a spot where it's like, if things come up, and you'll notice some gaps in between our videos, and some videos might interrupt a series, like we're doing the Steffenfeld City collection, and we've done the first two, and we haven't done the next two yet. And that there might be another game that catches our interest, and we throw that in between. We can do things like that because we don't depend on this channel for food and shelter. Thank goodness for that. So we don't have to try and toe that line of how valuable is our time. Where is that line where we're asking for compensation for our time versus giving free marketing to a publisher and a game? And how does that getting compensation for your time affect your biases towards publishers and games? And so I think we need to show a little bit of grace on both sides, both content creators and publishers. Most publishers, this is a small space. The publishers are probably just hobbyists themselves who are like, you know what, I enjoy board games. Let's publish board games that we like for other people. And that's, you see it a lot in the Kickstarters where they have had problems and have had to close their doors or ask for more money and stuff, and it's terrible when it happens. Excuse me. But you get into the comment sections and people are claiming malice, malintent, and when it's could just come down to the fact that you're asking somebody who's a board game hobbyist to all of a sudden be CEO of a company, and that might not be what they're good at. We've got these hobbyist publishers who don't have a marketing department that might say, hey, don't say this out loud, or as a content creator, I don't have anybody. I might be making a big mistake by putting this out, but I think this is something that we can all learn from. And not speaking to Jesse's character, whether he's a good person or a bad person, I think reading the emails, the very last email from Into the Unknown was talking about how they understand that the time period has passed and he's going to release those videos, and they look forward to working with him in the future. And there's no negativity suggested in that final email. And I think maybe a little bit of honesty, and maybe a little bit of not being afraid to hurt someone's feelings could also benefit, to where if in your correspondence you get the impression it's like, is this guy suggesting I pay him money to get rid of those negative videos? Just be direct and just be like, hey, this came across this way. Is that what you intended? And it could be a learning experience for the person. If the person did not mean it that way, You know, Jesse could have just been saying, we made these videos where we express our frustration. If you decide to do some sponsored videos and help us through those frustrations in a way that we could share it with our people, those old videos, it's old news. We don't need to do those. Instead, we can do the ones of saying, here's how to get past frustrations. And that might be his intention, but if they're suspecting it has more of a malice intent and they just reply back like everything's great, like, hey, we look forward to working with you in the future, we totally understand, see you later, then Jesse has no idea that the way that he put that email was potentially off-putting. And so then he doesn't learn from that, and instead this is now a public lesson for Jesse and for everyone else involved, and it could have been avoided maybe privately instead. And it also would give Jesse the opportunity to reply back and be like, yeah, that's exactly what I mean. If you don't pay us, we're putting out these bad videos. But I don't know. I can't speak to his character. I don't know any of these people involved. I have a habit of thinking the best of people until they prove me wrong. So, anyways, that's my take on it. We're not looking to take any money from publishers. If for whatever reason people find this channel helpful and we end up with a following, we're not looking to make a living at this. If people are interested in supporting us when we start getting more followers, if they want to do a Patreon or donate some money, it'd be nice to have a camera that's not my phone to use, and maybe fix up this area a little bit, and do some gameplay where we're actually have a dedicated camera down instead of having to figure out a way to get a second phone to film. That's all stuff that would be nice to have, and if it happens, great. We would love to be able to do more and better content, but we're not looking to make a living at this, so we're not interested in taking money from publishers. If that ever comes about for like the preview or something like that, I don't see why we would do that. We don't need that money to survive. Like I said, this isn't our job, and we're just wanting to do some fair content where we can be negative sometimes, positive sometimes, and hopefully not have any biases interfere. So I guess if there's any takeaway from this, if you have correspondence with us and you find something questionable in what we say, ask us. Let us know, because we're not YouTubers. We're not content creators. We're just hobbyists that are hoping to put out some information that might be useful to other hobbyists, and it would do well for people to recognize that other people in the space, they're just hobbyists too, and maybe be a little bit more lenient and not make things public, because unfortunately most people, when we screw up, only the people in the immediate area know. Here, when we screw up, everybody knows. So anyways, that's just a thought. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.